Students, welcome to another live PEP class. Today is Wednesday, and so we would normally be doing our performance task for PEP. However, we did our ability test last night and we did not get to complete it. And so we decided that we're going to do ability test tonight. Well, for two reasons. One, we want to complete workbook 3 of the workshop booklets that were issued by the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information here in Jamaica to help PEP students, teachers, and parents to understand what is required of us for PEP. So the ministry did an excellent job in preparing these workshop booklets and distributing them among students, teachers, and parents because we need to know what is expected of us. So we really want to complete workshop book 3, and so we can go on to workshop booklet 4. So the other reason is that PEP is the ability test for PEP is coming up in just a couple weeks. And so we want to put in as much of the ability test as we can. We're about just over 2 weeks away from the actual ability test, right? So we want to complete workshop book 3 and go on to 4, and then we can also, do some more prep for the ability test. All right. So already Ashlyn is reminding us it's 2 weeks, 5 days, 4 hours, 57 minutes. And Ashlyn is on top of things when it comes on to how far away the ability test is. And I'm sure she's also watching keenly the other sections of the PEP exam. So I want to welcome all those who are in the chat. And wherever you're coming from, whether you're joining us from YouTube, from Facebook, from wherever, you are welcome and we appreciate your company. And we'd like for you to drop your comments, drop your questions, and your answers. We also have some students waiting backstage in studio, and they're going to join us in a minute. So before I do any of that, I'm going to play for you our schedule of live PEP and CSEC classes so you can write down the dates and the times so you don't miss any of them. All right, so Ashlyn says she's very fond of math. Now, if you are fond of math, I am fond of you already because I love math. All right, so here is the schedule. CSEC math students, I know you are busy preparing for your math tests and your CSEC exams coming up. I have a very important question to ask you. Do you like my new hat? Thank you. Now, another important question. Have you ever gotten a math problem wrong simply because of making one little mistake? I'm sure you have, as thousands of other students have. Now, in this series, we're going to be looking at the common mistakes that students make with all the topics in CSEC math. We're going to look at the common errors, demystify everything. Make sure you watch every video in this series so that you can avoid making those mistakes. So, stay tuned. Hello, scholars. Did you know that most times when students get problems wrong in mathematics is as a result of one single error or one mistake? Well, this is absolutely true, and we're going to be looking at the common errors that students make in the different topics in mathematics. If we know the errors beforehand, we can certainly avoid making them. Are you ready? Come on, take my hand. Oh my goodness. Ashley is saying that my heart isn't new anymore. Oh my God. She said my heart isn't new anymore. Oh dear. Well, it's new. It's new to those who are just coming on. So yes, it is new. It will always be new because we will always have new scholars coming on and seeing my hat for the very first time. All right, and Legende is saying, I was the first one who took your hand, miss. That's awesome, Legende. I do want you to take my hand and I will guide you through. So Madison says, a war is happening in the comments. Well, it's not a war. It's not a war. And you know, we're just chilling, we're enjoying each other's company. And I mean, you can make your comments. I don't take offense at all to what Ashlyn said. All right. So well, if you see something over and over, it's gonna seem it's no longer have that novelty to it, but we will always have brand new subscribers, right? So it will be new to them. All right, so here we go. I'm going to invite my scholars to join me in studio here and inviting them in the order that they came, right? So in that order, hello, Jer and Madison, Jaden. Oh, sorry, it wasn't Jer. Jaden, Madison, Shalicia, John, and Amari. All right. So
just how that looks so weird.
Well, it's just how I legend they say me. Okay, but legendary, you're going to be able to join us later. Okay, so I accepted the scholars in the order in which they were waiting at the door, waiting at the studio door. Okay, so that's the order. And I want to say good evening to all those who are joining us in the chat. Welcome, Anusha, Ashlyn, of course, Pro John Boy, Anthony, Luisa, that's Antoine. Welcome, everyone. Pro John want me to shout him out. Pro John, you realize that you said shut me out? I know you want to say shout me out, but you said shut. You want me to shut you out? So big up to Pro John from Trinidad. Yes, we have our Trinidad brother with us tonight. And we have persons watching from all over the Caribbean and the world. All right, so here we go. We're continuing our ability test. So I believe we're at 23. Hi, Adina, welcome. I think we were at 23, right? So
Yes, we left off at 23.
Yeah, we left off at 23. So we're continuing now. So items 24 and 25. The item type, quantitative reasoning. Oh, I did not share my screen. Forgive me. Hold on, let me go back. All right, so I need to share my screen. All right, so now let me check that you're seeing clearly. Okay, so we're good, right? So that's it. All right. And the category is data analysis. The targeted skills is to analyze and interpret data to predict and to draw conclusions. So we're to analyze the information in the table. What pattern can you find? All right, Jaden, please question, read the introduction to question 25, please.
Okay, miss. A student investigates friction by pulling a block and recording the force needed using a force meter. The results are shown in the table. Use the information to answer items 24 and 25. A student investigates friction by pulling a block and recording the force needed using a force meter. The results are shown in the table. Use the information to answer items 24 and 25.
All right, so here's the information. Madison, can you read, please?
Okay, miss. Table showing the force needed for different surfaces. Surface. Force needed in newtons. Tabletop 2.5. Paper towel
Newton.
2.8.
Read your units, please. 2.5 newtons.
Tabletop 2.5 newtons. Paper towel 2.8 newtons. Fine sandpaper 3 newtons. Rough sandpaper 3.3 newtons. Table showing the force needed for different surfaces. Surface, force needed in newtons. Tabletop, 2.5 newtons. Paper towel, 2.8 newtons. Fine sandpaper, 3 newtons. Rough sandpaper, 3.3 newtons.
Thank you. Amari, please read the actual question now.
Miss, can you please repeat the question? Oh, question 24. What is the conclusion for this investigation? (24) What is the conclusion for this investigation? A. Force move objects on different surfaces. B. Force stops objects from moving. C. The rougher the surface, the greater the force needed. D. The smoother the surface, the greater the force needed. A. A. Force move objects on different surfaces. B. Force stops objects from moving. C. The rougher the surface, the greater the force needed. D. The, the smoother the surface, the greater the force needed.
All
Miss,
right,
I
so
would say
Legion,
C.
you're saying C. Read what C says.
Miss C says the rougher the surface, the greater the force needed.
Okay. All right, and why do you say that, Amari? So let's go back
Miss, Miss,
to
can
the
you please
previous
repeat?
slide. So I'm asking you why do you say that? Just explain why you chose C. I'm not hearing you, Amari. If you're speaking, I'm not hearing you. Are you able to explain, or you want someone else to help?
Miss, can someone help? Okay, Miss, the reason
John, go
why
ahead.
would be okay. Miss, the reason why it would be the rougher the force, the greater the force needed, the rougher the surface. Miss, is because the tabletop is 2.5, miss. The paper towel is 2.8. Fine sandpaper is 3.0, miss. Rough sandpaper is 3.3, miss. So that's why the rougher the surface, miss, the greater the force needed.
All right, so you're saying moving as we go down, the objects are getting rougher, the surface of the object is getting rougher and rougher. Do
Yes.
we agree? So the tabletop would be smoother than the paper towel, and the fine sandpaper would be rougher than the paper towel, and the rough sandpaper would be rougher than the fine sandpaper. And we'll find that the rougher the surface gets, the more force is needed for the object to move. All right, so you are correct, Amari. So that is C. The rougher the surface, the greater the force needed. Shalicia, can you read question 25, please? Shalicia? Shalicia? Someone in the chat is asking which grade this is. This is grade 6. Shalicia, can you hear? Or Madison? Students, am I lagging for you
No,
guys?
miss. This
Am I
time
lagging
lagging a lot. Not currently, miss.
It's lagging for who? Okay. Can you go now, Shalicia?
Okay, miss. Question 25. Oil is added to the tabletop. Which prediction will likely take place? A. The force needed will be 2.0. B. The force needed will be 2.6. C. The force needed will be 3.1. D. The force needed will be 3.4. Question 25. Oil is added to the prediction will likely take place. A. The force needed will be 2.0. B. The force needed will be 2.6. C. The force needed will be 3.1. D. The force needed will be 3.4.
All right, so let's go back a little. So if we're adding oil to the tabletop, at present, without the oil, the force needed to move it on the tabletop is 2.5 newtons. What effect would the oil have on the tabletop in terms of friction? What effect does oil have? All right, so Madison says it reduces the friction. Rodriguez says the same thing. So the oil reduces friction. That means if you put oil, you will need less force to move it. So now the oil is the tabletop is 2.5. So if we add oil, what do you think the force would be that we need to apply? Would it be more than 2.5 or less than 2.5? All right, so let's hear. Okay, so right. So we're saying it has to be less. because the oil will reduce the friction. The oil will make it easier for something to move across the table. So the only one there that is less than 2.5 would be A, 2.0. Right? Okay, so we're going to go on to 26. Excuse me for 1/2 of a second. Legend, I knew you would say that 1/2 a second gone. I knew it. That was a setup. I set you up because I know you were going to say that. All right. So let's continue. Legend walked right into my trap. I know her. So item 26, quantitative reasoning, category data analysis, and we are expected to be able to analyze and interpret data and draw conclusions. So we're encouraged to analyze the results and use the information to draw conclusions. All right. So Madison, please read question 26.
Question 26. Some students were carrying out an investigation to determine the best material for soundproofing. These steps are carried out. They measured the sound level of an alarm from a phone in an open box. They then measured the sound level of the phone alarm in the following situations. 1. When the box was closed. 2. When the box was packed with different materials and closed. Question 26. Some students were carrying out an investigation to determine the best material for soundproofing. These are the steps carried out. They measured the sound level of an alarm from a phone in an open box. They then measured the sound level of the phone alarm in the following situations. 1. When the box was closed. 2. When the box was packed with different materials and closed.
All right, John, please read the rest of the information showing the results.
The results are shown in the table below. Where the phone alarm is placed, sound level in the decibels dB. Open
Decibels.
box. Wait. So you said this?
Decibels.
Ah. Sound level in decibels. Open box 80, closed box 70. Closed box
Read the
packed
units
with
with
bubble
it,
wrap.
John.
Okay. Open box 80 decibels. Closed box 70 decibels. Closed box packed with blue wrap.
Bubble wrap.
Yes, bubble wrap. 40 decibels. Closed box packed with cotton. 50 decibels. Closed box packed with fabric. 55 decibels. Closed box packed with paper. 60 decibels. The results are shown in the table below. Where the phone for the phone, alarm was placed. Sound level in decibels. Open box, 80 decibels. Closed box, 70 decibels. Closed box packed with bubble wrap, 40 decibels. Closed box packed with cotton, 50 decibels. Closed box packed with fabric, 55 decibels. Closed box packed with paper, 60 decibels.
Thank you, John. Jaden, can you read the actual question now for me?
Okay, miss. Which material is best for soundproofing the box? Which material is best for soundproofing the box? Miss, I have B, cotton.
Wait, read the options, Jaden.
A, bubble wrap. B, cotton. C, fabric. And D, paper.
Again?
A, bubble wrap. B, cotton. C, fabric. And B, paper.
All right, so let's hear some answers. What are you saying is your choice, Jaden?
Miss B, cotton.
All right, and why do you say cotton is the best for
Because
soundproofing?
on the table,
Yes.
cotton had the lowest amount of decibels of 50 decibels.
Is that the lowest? Let's go back. Is that the lowest?
Yeah.
And why would we want the lowest? Why would that mean that it's the best?
Because the lowest amount of decibels is the lowest sound, the lowest noise.
All right, so to remind us, they want to know the best material for soundproofing. So when you're soundproofing something, you don't want the sound to. Is it that you don't want the sound to leave or enter the thing? Which is it?
You don't want it to leave the box.
Okay, so you don't want it to leave the box. So then, the lowest sound you hear coming from the box would mean that that's the best material, right, for soundproofing. All right. So do you still say it is the cotton? Are you sticking to that, Jaden?
No, miss. I changed it to bubble wrap, which is 40
Okay, so you
decibels.
change it to bubble wrap. Bubble wrap, 40 decibels was heard. And so let me look at some answers that the other scholars had given. So Madison had said bubble wrap. Rodriguez said bubble wrap because it was lowest with 40 decibels to reduce the noise. Okay. And Jaden is now saying bubble wrap. Lejeune Day said bubble wrap. Regine said bubble wrap. In the chat, Ashlyn also said bubble wrap. And Maysilin said bubble wrap. So it's unanimous. It's unanimous. We all agree that is the bubble wrap is the best one for soundproofing. Item 27. Item type, quantitative reasoning, category data analysis, targeted skills to analyze and interpret data and draw conclusions. And we are encouraged to analyze the results and to use the information to draw conclusions. So after this question, we're going to do our switch and allow the scholars who are waiting backstage to come to join us in studio. So I would love for Amari to read question 27.
Okay, miss. Question 27. A student wanted to determine material could keep her soup warm for the longest time. She carried out step 2. Number 1. She placed the same amount of soup in cups made of different materials A, B, C, and D. Number 2. She measured the temperature of the soup in each cup at the beginning and at the end of 10 minutes. Question 27. A student wanted to determine which material could keep her soup warm for the longest time. She carried out the steps below. 1. She placed the same amount of soup in cups made of different materials A, B, C, and D. 2. She measured the temperature of the soup in each cup and at the beginning and at the end of 10 minutes.
All right, thank you, Amari. Shalicia, can you read the information giving us the results of that experiment, please? Okay, so Shalicia is always having difficulty. Shalicia, can you hear me? Her device is lagging. Shalicia, can you go ahead and read the table on the screen, please? That's all right. Go ahead and read for me. All right, and these degrees are in degrees Celsius. Thank you, Shalicia. Madison, can you read the question, please, and the options twice?
Which material is the worst insulator? Material A, material B, material C, or material D? Which material is the worst insulator? Material A, material B, material C, or material D?
All right, what is an insulator?
It's an object that can trap heat or cold.
All right, so it does not allow it to pass easily, so it keeps it in to whatever substance it is in. So let's revise. So the student wanted to determine which material could keep her soup warm. So which material would hold the heat inside the soup cup for the longest time, and she carried out the steps below. She placed the same amount of soup in cups made of different materials, A, B, C, and D. She measured the temperature of the soup in each cup at the beginning and at the end. All right, so they all start with 70 degrees Celsius. And at the end, A has 56 degrees Celsius, B 51, C 61, D 62. So we want to know which material is the worst insulator. So would the worst insulator have the highest temperature in the end or the lowest temperature in the end?
Lowest temperature in the end, miss.
The lowest temperature in the end. All right, so what's your choice? Let me hear your choice.
Miss B, material B.
All right, so Legion Day says B, Jaden says B, Macylin says B. All right, so a good insulator would hold the heat in and keep the soup hotter for longer. So a great insulator would have had the highest temperature. So we're saying B is the worst insulator because in B, it's the temperature is now 51 degrees. So it's the coolest of the four soups. All right, so now I'm going to do the switch. So I'm going to ask some of the scholars. It depends on how many scholars we have waiting backstage. All right, so I'm going to ask some scholars to wait. And remember, when you are backstage, you can still post your answers. Welcome, Jer. Welcome, Legende.
Hello, Miss.
And welcome, Regine. I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. Regine. All right, so those who are now backstage, remember, we still want you to participate and we still want to hear your comments and your answers. Just type it in the studio chat. For those in the chat on YouTube, on Facebook, etc., we also encourage you to keep typing your answers and your questions and comments. So we go now to question 28. And this type is also quantitative reasoning, category, data analysis, targeted skills to analyze and interpret data and to draw conclusions. All right, Legende, question 28, please.
Question 28. Miss, can you read the first part to me?
Mr. Smith.
Start to determine.
Mr. Smith wants to determine.
Okay, Mr. Smith wants to determine the best brand paper towels he should use in his kitchen to soak up water by carrying out an investigation. The number of pieces of paper towel used to soak up in each case is given in the table. Paper towel, brand A, brand B, brand C, brand D. Number of pieces used. Brand A, 8. Brand B, 4. Brand C, 6. Brand D, 5. Mr. Smith wants to determine the best brand paper towels he should use in his kitchen to soak up water by carrying out an investigation. The number of pieces of paper towel used to soak up the water in
To soak up 150 milliliters of water.
to soak up 150 milliliters of water in each case is given in a table. Paper towel, brand A, brand B, brand C, brand D. Number of pieces used. Brand A, 8. Brand B, 4. Brand C, 6. Brand D, 5.
All right. Jer, please read the question.
Okay. Okay, Miss, my mic wasn't opening a while ago.
All right.
Which is the best brand paper towel for Mr. Smith to use? Which is the best brand paper towel for Mr. Smith to use? A, brand A, B, brand B, C, brand C, D, brand D. A, brand A, B, brand B, C, brand C, D, brand D.
All right. And we're encouraged to analyze the results. Will the best brand use more or less pieces? Answer that. When you're deciding which brand is the best, would you go with the brand that you had to use more pieces or the brand that you had to use less
pieces, Miss.
Less pieces, right? Because it would mean that's a better quality and a smaller amount or a lesser amount would soak up more or the same amount of water. All right, so Madison says less, and Legende is saying brand B because he uses 4 pieces to soak up all the water. Rodriguez also says less. Jaden says less. Ashlyn says less pieces. So again, we're agreeing that it is brand B. Do you agree, Jer? So let's look back. Brand B, they only use, Mr.
Yes,
Smith
ma'am.
he only used 4 pieces and he got the job done. So this brand of paper towel would last longer. Let's say they all came with 100 pieces, for argument's sake. Brand B would last longer because 4 pieces did the same job that 8 pieces, 6 pieces, and 5 pieces of the other brand used. Question 29, again, the
Miss, I
item
wanted to
challenge.
put out something out of the question that we were at before.
Yes.
If you took away 4 from 100, that would leave back 96. And if you took away 8 from 100, if you took away 8 from 100, you would have 92. And if you took away 6 from 100, then you would have 94. And if you took away 5 from 100, you would have 95. And Miss, if you wanted to say which one